on the racecourse. We are at the gallows because the gallows have been at the racecourse since the 13th century and were used right the way through into the 1850s. There is an illustration of the actual gallows, which we called the York Tyburn, named after the Tyburn hanging tree down in London. But we also gave it a more affectionate nickname by the locals, which we called it the Three-Legged Mare. Now, there is actually a pub in town called the Three-Legged Mare. Nothing to do with a wonky donkey. That's the name of the gallows. And you can see it's basically a tripod constructed about 10 feet above the ground. So you'd be able to have multiple criminals, both men and women. We don't discriminate in York, on each of the three beams.
Oh my God, are you telling me they did more than one at a time?
Absolutely. In fact, it was so popular, was going down to see these executions, that they used to have pamphlets of the day of the list and the times of when you could see these criminals being hanged. It was good family fun entertainment for all. I wish they'd bring those days back. I do miss them. You say we have it easy nowadays.
I'm just going to drink.
But you can see in the centre of the three-legged mare, you can see the ladder, which the condemned man or woman with the noose about their necks had to climb up their own ladder, and it would be the topsman's duty, stood at the bottom of the ladder, that would have to twist and tilt you. So
the Wattsman.
What we call the topsman is what he was called. The topsman, yes. So that was specifically for hangings. So I'm going to tell you, as you can imagine, being used from the 13th century until the 1800s, we've seen a lot of criminals come and go, mainly go, from the gallows. And one of its most famous occupants is the one whose cocktail we are drinking in honour and the name of John Palmer.
Yeah. Yay! He's really famous.
You've never heard of him, have you?
Who the blazes is that?
I give up.
You told me to make this cocktail, but I've never heard of him.
I'm going to tell you the story because I bet you might just go, So you ready? Yeah. Feign interest, if not. But John Palmer was originally... He was actually based here in York, and he was arrested one evening for disturbing the peace. He shot a cockerel. I'm thinking of because I'm thinking of chocolate. I'm drunk now, so I need chocolate. That's what I'm thinking of. Shot a cockerel, and he threatened to shoot somebody else. So they decided they would lock him up for disturbing the peace. Whilst he was waiting for his trial, he decided to write a letter. That's how you write a letter to his brother-in-law.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Based down in Essex. So he wrote the letter and he sent it off. But this is before the postal system that we have nowadays. Nowadays, if we write a letter, we have to pay for the stamp, stick it on, send it off. And it would actually be the receiver of the letter that would have to pay for the delivery charge. Now, when the letter arrived at the postmaster's office down in Essex, the gentleman who the letter was addressed to was summoned for, and he was asked to pay for the missing stamp. This gentleman took one look at the postal mark of York. He said, I don't know anyone in York. Actually, he was in Essex, so he had a dodgy accent. Hang on. You ready? I don't know anyone in York. I don't know pay for his letter.
I ain't paying it. Get out of my pub.
Yeah, get out of my pub. We're all about family. So that's how they talk down in Essex. Apologies for anyone who is actually watching.
Is that how they talk?
You know full well that's how you talk. I talk properly, just so you know. Get out of my pub. So the letter remained with the postmaster, who amazingly recognised the handwriting. And he thought, hang on.
That's a bit extraordinary.
I'm a Newton bitter. I recognise this handwriting because I went to school and I taught this person how to write at school. This is not the handwriting of a John Palmer, which is why you've never heard of him. This is, in fact, the handwriting of that notorious and most wanted criminal, Dick Turpin. You've heard of him now,
I've heard of
haven't you?
him.
Famous highwayman. Look, there we have the lovely Pete of one of the York Gin directors dressed up as Turpin. And I'm not going to lie, that day he was doing that furry photo shoot, he really liked the outfit. So, yeah, we really had to force those boots off him because he just didn't want to go home. Turpin. He was loving this day. Now, incidentally, if you do decide to order York gin and you live in York and you do get the free delivery, it will be Pete delivering this gin. We should start a campaign to get Pete to deliver the gin dressed as this. He was
Mad Alice, stand and deliver.
stand and deliver. There we go. There's the York gin.
Highwayman.
The famous highwayman. So other than what I've told you, speaking of standing and deliver, what else do you know about Dick Turpin?
Oh,
Your money or your life?
Money on your life, stand and deliver. That's a little bit adamant. Also, Richard O'Sullivan, if you know who he is, it wasn't actually the real Dick Turpin that said that. He was not the dashing highwayman that we think and know of today. That was actually a Victorian invention. William Harrison Ainsworth wrote a book in 1840 called Rookwood.
Susannah said Black Bess.
Black Bess. The horse Black Bess. Well, I'm going to get onto that in a moment because the famous horse that he rode from London to York in a day did not, in fact, it did take place, but it wasn't Turpin. And he didn't even have... What's this? Is that how you
That's me riding Black Bess.
After a few gins, you ain't going to stay on there for very long. But no, he did not, in fact, have a horse called Black Bess. Again, this is part of the Victorian novelist's idea of what Dick Turpin actually was. He was not the dashing highwayman. He was about 5 foot tall, stocky build, butcher by trade, badly scarred by smallpox, and from Essex, so did have that very dodgy accent.
Oh, a real winner then.
Yeah, a right looker, absolutely. And he was actually executed, not for the crime of highway robbery, as we know him today. He was in fact executed for the crime of horse stealing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit of an anticlimax, but naturally, because he didn't have Black Bess, so he just used to nick everybody else's horse. And he was taken out to the gallows at the racecourse on the 7th of April, 1739. There he met his maker and followed in the footprints of Guy Fawkes, because when that noose was placed about his neck and he had to climb up the ladder, what did Guy Fawkes do when he got to the top of that ladder?
He jumped.
He jumped. He cheated the authorities. He left this world for good.